Joining us now, former acting DHS Secretary Chad Wolf. It's great to have you on, Chad. Okay, we've got the New York Times and the governor of New Jersey. They're getting criticized for downplaying the pandemic at the border. They're saying, making like it's not an issue, but the NBC is reporting about 1 out of 5 migrant families detained have the virus. And Democrat Congressman from Henry Cuellar, also doctors and judges are warning about this. This is a humanitarian issue, right? So we're not saying, people aren't saying use this as an anti-immigration position. It's more about there are people getting sick, right? So what do you say?
Well, it's absolutely an issue along the border, COVID specifically. We have numbers not only from Congressman Cuellar, but actually from the Border Patrol down there in the Rio Grande Valley, where they talked about a 900% increase in COVID-related cases along that border and in that sector alone. So absolutely, it's an issue along the border. I think, the governor of New Jersey and others need to wake up to that. Communities along that border are experiencing this firsthand, where you have mass releases of migrants in their communities, at bus stations, at train stations, and at airports. And many of these individuals and many of these migrants are testing positive at the end of the day for COVID. So it's absolutely a real issue. It shouldn't be downplayed. We have a humanitarian crisis, a security crisis, and now a COVID crisis along that border.
The Washington Post editorial board is now saying the border chaos is a politically toxic issue for the Biden administration and for the Democrats, that the Biden administration is trying to be humane, but at the same time, the pandemic is exploding at the border. And so, there's that issue. And Brandon Judd, former top border official, says 40% of migrants coming in are not tested for COVID. Is that true, 40%?
Yeah, look, Brandon would have a good sense of it. He is the head of the union, of the Border Patrol union, so his numbers are usually pretty accurate. But I will just say, I read that Washington Post editorial, which if the Washington Post is criticizing the administration, something is going wrong. But they talk about the Biden administration having a humane policy, and that's not correct. There's nothing humane about encouraging these illegal migrants to take a very dangerous journey to the border to come into the U.S. knowing that the vast majority of them do not qualify for asylum and will eventually have to leave the country. At the same time, you have members of Congress talking about amnesty. And so it's just the wrong approach in the middle of this crisis to be talking about amnesty for upwards to 20 million people here in the country illegally. It's the wrong approach. You're going to see a surge on that border like you've never seen before if they end up passing any type of amnesty provisions.
Here's the issue. Thousands of people die, get killed on the way trying to do it illegally. That's dangerous. Watch this Texas border town doctor pleading with the president, saying, get on the stick of what's happening with COVID at the border. Watch this.
As we all well know, those numbers have increased significantly and uncontrollably. And as a result of the surge, regardless of what people outside of here think, it is very closely related to the number of migrants that have come across that are either testing positive and being released early or not being tested at all and continuing to spread the virus as they travel up further north into the country. Remember that as those migrants are released and travel north, they continue to be infectious because the CDC guidelines for quarantine and isolation are not being followed. And that's a huge problem.
He's saying cases are up tenfold. So instead of Democrats and the Biden administration and the media politically attacking Texas and Florida, why don't they travel to the border and see what's really going on? What do you say?
Well, it's quite amazing that you have a federal government who should be working with the state of Texas, the state of Arizona, and others in trying to protect that border and trying to protect American citizens living in those states. Instead, you have the Biden administration going to court to try to stop actions that the state of Texas is taking. And they're only taking this because at the end of the day, the federal government's not upholding the rule of law and it's not implementing and enforcing laws that are on the books today and are moving COVID-related cases all over the country. And it's just the wrong approach. And these governors have a different view and they need to protect their citizens.
Chad Wolf, great to see you. Thank you so much.